This is the third part of my video on rebuilding the old Z. And what I've done up to press is I've cleaned up the discs. They've cleaned up quite nicely, and the front wheel's cleaned up really well, and the back wheel is not too bad, but I'm having to repaint it. I'm going to go over the edges, all the shiny bits, with alloy block later on and then polish them up, and it should look pretty good. I've gone with the Avon Road Rider tyres, so they're quite expensive unfortunately, but I think they're a good tyre. I have decided to go with a black cylinder head and the black engine, I should say. What I've done is I've dremeled the fins and then polished them with alloy block, so they're not, there's no rough edges or sharpness to them. I think that's worked out quite well. And that's the engine, the bottom end. This is cleaned up quite nicely. I'm quite happy with that actually. It needs a new sprocket, I know. That's polished up well. And this is one of the good things about buying stuff from California. I mean, this engine's so what, 35, 36 years old. I mean, look at that starter motor, it looks like brand new. The bottom end of the engine was in excellent condition. I don't know how many miles it's done. It's showing 24,000 on the Honda clocks, but that doesn't mean anything. So, no idea, but it's certainly in good order. The pistons are standard bores, all standard, all in good nick, no blow by or anything like that, so probably is quite a low mileage motor. I don't know why it's had all the work done on the cylinder head, but it's been done very nicely, so I'm not too worried about that. I'm going to go and take you to show you the frame next. I've decided to have it braced and the other modifications to the rear footrest, as I said earlier. Also, I've managed to pick up a cam cover off Dave Marsden. It's actually off his Mad Max 2 Turbo project, so that's why it's all painted nice and horrible green. But it hasn't got the air system that was on the US version, the pair system as I call it, which is that one, and it's a much nicer looking rocker cover, I think you'll agree. And that's the one I'm going to be using after it's been cleaned up, polished and painted black. That should look pretty good. Also, I forgot to mention that I did pull down the bottom end of the engine, but I didn't blast it because it was actually that clean. I simply gave it a thorough wash, and I picked up this really good product from a guy in Farnworth, from a paint shop, which I'll get for you. So it's called Blaze. I definitely recommend it. It's amazing stuff. I just put it in one of these plastic Tupperware bowls that has a sealable lid on it, and I put a gallon in there, and I've used that, and it's cleaned up the engine really well. As you can see, I cleaned the starter motor and all that sort of stuff with it. It cleaned up extremely well. I even cleaned the brake discs, and the forks are actually soaking in it at the moment. It's amazingly good at cleaning. So that's a remarkable product. I put a new cam chain in it. I put a DID cam chain in. It's exactly the same as the genuine Kawasaki one. So effectively it's the same as using genuine Kawasaki. The cam end plugs, I've actually used Tormax ones. I've always used these, actually. I've been using them for 25 years plus now. I wouldn't use them if they were rubbish. I'd honestly say they're not as good as genuine Kawasaki, but I've never had a problem with them as long as they're bonded. When I didn't bond one in though, I did have one blow out of the cylinder head, so make sure you do that if you use them. I used to use the Goldwing gasket sets, but I now use these MGO ones. The main reason is that the actual gaskets are all the same colour, so you don't get these odd gaskets. You get green gaskets and different coloured gaskets within the Goldwing ones and other gasket sets. This is the Z1000 one, does the Z1000A1 and A2, and the Z1R with the Mark 1 engine. Unfortunately, it doesn't come with a rocker cover gasket for the Mark II, so since I'm building one I can use this gasket set, but I've had to pick up a Mark II cam cover gasket. and that's the gasket set for the Z1, Z1A and Z1B, and also the Z900A4, and that's what I use on my other bikes. Right, and I think that's it for this week's video. In next week's video, hopefully I'll have the barrels back, and I'll put the engine back together, and I will do a video on cam timing and rebuilding the top end of the engine. Also, I'm hoping to get the frame somewhere near finished, and we'll video that to see how the frame looks with the retro and modifications we're doing to the frame bracing. So hopefully you'll watch the next video.